Greetings for the day, dear children. Let's begin with this chapter. This chapter, who will do this work? Now, in this chapter, I have given a lot of questions for do it yourself, like DIY. Why? Because I want your thoughts to be in your notebook. I want you all to think and then write what you think. Why? Because you are going to change or transform the upcoming generation, the society. You are the next generation. So, of course, what you think really will help to make this world a better place to be in. Now, particularly, this chapter deals about untouchability. This chapter deals about the taboos, the restrictions which were laid on some people, how caste-based system was turning into a disaster, how equal rights were not given to some people, how the people who are cleaning were disrespected, were humiliated, and these things were transformed, changed by two revolutionary leaders. Number one, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, and second, Mahatma Gandhi ji. And a lot more people. But in your textbook, these two references have been given. We also know that earlier it was very difficult to get the cleaning work done. But now we have technology, we have machines, so all these things can be done. And now untouchability has reduced to quite an extent. Maybe in some remote areas, like in remote villages, problems might still arise. But nowadays in cities, people have stopped being or believing in the concept of untouchability and these things which really do not exist in our 21st century. Equal rights have been given to a gender irrespective of what caste, gender, profession they belong to. Each and every profession deserves the same amount of respect. Each and every profession requires and is asking for humility and humanity, because humanity is not costing us anything. Words like please, thank you, sorry, golden words. These words should be used in our day-to-day life. However, we see such images many a times and a lot of people behave with disgust. But the thing you see over here, manual scavenging, this act is very dangerous, of course, because a lot of people who are doing this work, they die in this process. So now we have machines. Let's hope when you all grow up, only and only machines are used and human beings are not used to clean the drains. So the writer, they spoke to some people who are doing the cleaning job. So from the output they came to know, the writers came to know that even now, though the people who are doing the cleaning work now were educated, but earlier they got no jobs even after doing education. Even after getting a college degree, they were not given the job because of their ancestors or grandfathers' profession. So these things have stopped totally. These things have stopped now. This is try it yourself activity. Please ensure of social distancing and ask your parents before doing this thing. Now we have already discussed on what different kind of work. So we had listed out more than 10 plus professions on how different professions are really helping. You also told the 5 jobs you would like to do and 5 jobs you would not choose. What kind of work or jobs do people not want to do? People do not want to do work like which requires physical or strenuous efforts, which requires going out a lot, which requires target. Okay, nowadays each and every job is having some target, especially in corporate. Corporate यानी जो office में job करता है. So they have targets. So a lot of people do not like to do target based work. So, dear children, apart from that, a lot of people have their own sort of criteria on what type of job they want to do and what type of jobs they don't want to do. The conclusion is just that people do not want very hard working jobs. They want smart working jobs. So nowadays people are learning to trade, people are learning to invest so that they can retire successfully. So who does this kind of work? The people who are not that educated. Now, my dear children, college degree and investment are really two different concepts. One child may have a college degree, but again investing, trading, all these things also require certain degrees, certain knowledge, certain education. So my dear children, who are doing this kind of work यानी जो कोई भी नहीं करता है काम, like maybe target based job, maybe cleaning, maybe those jobs where one has to work very hard. We see a lot of people during rain, our government MSCB people who are doing the light work. See, that's a very dangerous job. हम बारिश के टाइम पे वीडियोस देखते हैं कि how they are working on taking care of the wiring work. So ये सब job then who does? People who are trained and experienced to do this job. Okay. What would happen if nobody did this work? Like, what if nobody is cleaning? Nobody is nobody is coming to help us in our domestic chores. Then who will do this work? We all witnessed during lockdown last year 2020. Everyone was at home. Streets were empty. Domestic helpers weren't able to enter the building. So how do you think? Who did the vacuuming? Who did the dusting? Who did the mopping? The people in their house did their own work, dear children. So who would clear the garbage lying outside your school or your house for a week? If for a week nobody picks it up, then it's going to stink because we don't segregate our garbage. Now, dear children, in abroad, some places people take out their own trash. They don't need a person who's ringing the bell in the apartment and taking out the trash. They take their own trash, they recycle on their own, and they also take care of their own garbage, especially in countries like other countries of Asia like Japan, China, Korea. My dear children, make some machines which do you think will equally, clean your house immediately. Now, whom do you think has tried to change the situation? A lot of people tried, a lot of people had to work very hard. This extract is from the book of Mr. Narayan, who was 11 years of age and who was living in Gandhiji's Sabarmati Ashram. Everyone was allowed, or everyone was, you can say, responsible to do their own work. Back in those days, they did not have toilet with flush system. Okay, so they used to defecate in a pot, and afterwards they had to pick that pot and empty it in a compost pit. So Gandhiji taught each and everyone who was living in the ashram to do this work. Whereas in other places, in other areas or in other villages, certain people were called to do this work, to take out their own others' defecation and to take care of the toilets, to clean the toilets. As a result, the other villages, like maybe some of those villages, thought that this is a dirty work. But to be honest, this is not a dirty work. A lot of people were very rude, harsh, cold to people who used to do the cleaning work. This really needed to be stopped even during that time. So Gandhiji replied, untouchability is a serious matter. A lot of hard work will be required, and they worked hard, and that's the reason we are living in such a peaceful world full of equality. ठीक है? Then this 11-year-old boy had a lot of questions because he was very curious. He was not able to understand that why people are being so biased, why people are being so partial, why people are doing this untouchability thing. We have never learned this. Remember, children, racism, these type of biasness, all these things children and adults learn from society. So we are very much responsible about living in a world full of equality. Little Narayan was not convinced even after a lot of discussion with Mahatma Gandhi ji. Little Narayan always wonder कि जिन्होंने कचरा फैलाया है, they will only do the cleaning work. But when Gandhiji used to believe in the power of non-violence, so slowly and steadily Gandhiji with his actions changed the mindsets of everyone and thought that maybe उनके थोड़े deeds से untouchability stop हो जाएगा. Then Narayan, when he grew up, what happened? He became just like Mahatma Gandhi. Now, how are the toilet arrangements in our house? We have wonderful toilet arrangements. We have flush system. We have everything. Now, see, dear children, पुराने ज़मानों में जो लोग ऐसे we can't exactly say the chawl system, but जो लोग ऐसे group में रहते थे, like अलग अलग ऐसे घर होते थे, maybe 15 houses or 5 houses. So it was not possible. कौन सा year I'll tell you, 1990 से 2000 वाला year, for lower middle class and for poor people it was not possible कि वो लोग टॉयलेट सिस्टम हर एक घर में लगा सके, because वो उनका पूरा ड्रेनेज का कनेक्शन में काफी खर्चा आता था तभी. Then what happened, they used to have a public bathroom. अभी भी जो एकदम स्लम एरियाज होते हैं वहां पे ऐसे 15-20 हाउसेस होते हैं और थोड़ा डिस्टेंस में एक पब्लिक वॉशरूम होता है, वहां पे दे गो टू डू द बिजनेस. सो माय डियर चिल्ड्रन, ये ऐसे टाइम पे हु डज द क्लीनिंग वर्क? So dear children, they have their own duties allotted, or maybe they hire someone to do the cleaning work. Another thing, dear children, then 2000 and उसके पहले से भी like slowly and steadily when people started making buildings, people as in builders started making buildings. So toilet was basically they started putting it in the house itself. Flats में तो शुरू से रहता था, but then जो छोटे छोटे घर थे जहाँ पे पब्लिक वॉशरूम था, जहाँ पे ड्रेनेज पॉसिबल नहीं था, वहां पर भी उन्होंने वॉशरूम्स घर में अंदर ही इंस्टॉल करना स्टार्ट किया, इंक्लूडिंग सम ऑफ द चॉल्स जहाँ पे ड्रेनेज का प्रॉब्लम हो सकता है, तो उन्होंने वो पूरा सिस्टम स्टार्ट किया. ठीक है. सो ऑफ कोर्स इट टुक टाइम. नाउ 20 years passed by. A lot of people, maximum you can say, they have toilets in their house itself, but पुराने जमाने में ऐसा नहीं था. Now, there were also people who used to, mock, criticize and insult the people who were doing the cleaning job. How do people generally behave with those who clean toilets and drains? Earlier, people used to be rude, cold, harsh. Nowadays, people are being generous because of education. उनको सिखाया जा रहा है कि ऐसा नहीं किसी के साथ rudely behave करना है. Narayan and Gandhiji discussed all this many things years ago. Have this changed now? Yes, it has changed. Now, this is the story of our leader, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. Whenever I read his story, it really